the court clips that we're going to go over today. Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all have had a wonderful week. I hope everybody is feeling good. My Florida friends, are y'all watching this big storm? I mean, by the time you guys are seeing this, somebody is getting some rain, and I hope y'all are hunkered down and got plenty of water bottles and gas for your generators. So in today's video, we're going to be revisiting the Carly situation. I did a video on her back in June, but we're going to be talking about the things that came out in court that we did not know about previously. Before we get into it, though, I did want to let you guys know, if you don't already know, hi, my name is Christina. I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina. It's been slow moving over there lately, y'all, but it's not because my heart doesn't want to be over there. It's a lot going on. But if you guys want to see a more casual, laid-back version, that is over on my Casually Christina channel. I also have a Patreon. Now my Patreon is for 18 and up, and over there we talk more personal. We go live over there, and there is a $2 tier for all the true crime stuff that cannot go onto YouTube due to their terms and policies. That goes over on my Patreon under the $2 tier. Just make sure you read the full about section of what each tier offers before you join. I'm also on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and I'm also on Like to Know It. And Like to Know It is a platform where you can find links to a lot of the things that you guys ask about, that I use, and that I like. I post those links over on my Like to Know It because they never disappear. I can keep it all in one spot. So if you want to find any of those platforms, they're all linked down in the description box if you would like to come and check me out. Before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor, HelloFresh. We all know that home-cooked meals are so much better for you, but we don't always have the time to pull it off. But with HelloFresh handling all the meal planning, the shopping, and most of the prep work, it is easier than ever to get dinner on the table quick and painless. For me personally, this is some of the busiest time of the year. My son has jiu-jitsu, he's got football practice, he has church on Wednesday nights, and there is just always something to do. Not even to mention that the holidays is coming up, and a lot of us is already starting to think about decorating and all of the extras. And with HelloFresh's quick and easy meals, which are my personal favorite, I can get dinner cooked and ready and on the table in 20 minutes or less. And it's delicious and nutritious. And with summer basically in the rear view mirror now, and the days are busier ahead, now is the perfect time to save time and money when it comes to your dinner routine. Skip the meal planning, the grocery store lines, and have a lot more time for either relaxing or planning for the holidays, and cut down on all that extra food waste with HelloFresh's convenient doorstep delivery and pre-measured ingredients. There's always new flavors to explore with an ever-changing menu of 50 recipes to choose from every single week. You just pick your meals and your delivery date, and it is that simple. And now you can get free breakfast for life if you just go to HelloFresh.com and use code FreeChristinaRandall to get one free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's right. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com with code FreeChristina today. Thanks again, HelloFresh. Okay, now when I tell y'all I learned so much more about this case from the trial, I felt like I had to do an updated video. I mean, so you guys might remember back in June, I did this video on Gregg and this whole case. If you don't remember, I'm going to give you guys a very brief recap on who Carly is and who her mother Ashley was. So Gregg was 14 years old, and she was living in Rankin County, Mississippi with her mother, 40-year-old Ashley Smylie, and her stepfather, 30-year-old Heath Smylie. Now, Carly was a sophomore at Northwest Rankin High School, and not only did Carly love to go to school, but she did really well in school. She earned a 30 on the ACT when she was only 13 years old, and she ended up skipping the 4th grade. I mean, it truly seems like school was Carly's passion, and she was good at it. I did not realize how incredibly book smart or intelligent that Carly was. Now, Carly's mother, Ashley, was actually a teacher who taught math at the same school that Carly went to. And not only was her mother a teacher at this school, but she was very loved. She was one of those teachers that everybody wanted to be in her class. They loved her and they thought she was awesome. And for those of y'all that have been to school, you know that feeling when you have that one teacher and you're excited to see them because the class is just going to go smoothly. This was Mrs. Smylie, or Ashley Smylie, Carly's mom. Sadly, however, though, on March of 19th of this year, Carly, her 14-year-old daughter, just out of the blue, ended her mother's life and attempted to end the life of her stepfather. Now, Carly, who is now 15 years old, has since claimed mental insanity. And we see this over and over and over again. And spoiler alert, I feel like as the world continues to go in the direction that it's going, we're going to see a lot more of this whole mental insanity situation. But let's keep moving here. In the state of Mississippi, to be found not guilty of a crime by reason of insanity, it has to be proven that the defendant had a mental illness that prevented them from knowing right from wrong at the time of the crime. Remember, we talk about this. People do crime sometimes, and y'all are in the comment section, and it's just common sense to know that you gotta have some mental illness in order to do something like this. But it's not just that in order to get not guilty by reason of insanity. It has to be proved that the person could not tell the difference between right and wrong at the time. It also has to be proven that the supposed mental illness prevented the defendant from understanding the gravity of their actions, okay? Now, when Carly pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, she had a mental health evaluation performed. Her results came out during her last week in trial. So let's talk about that. Day one started with opening statements. The state laid out their entire timeline of what they thought happened, and in their opening statement, there was some information that we hadn't heard before. They said that they believed that Carly was not insane and that she had a secret life, including a secret boyfriend, a secret cell phone, and a substance use that she did not want her mom finding out about. Oh yeah, she had a whole separate alleged thing going on there at her age. They said that when her mom did find out, Carly did the unthinkable. According to the state, on the morning of March 19th of 2024, Carly and her mother Ashley rode to school together. Now, during the school day, they said that Carly got into this argument with one of her friends where she was cursing him out, just going off on him. The friends said that they were so worried about Carly and her green usage that they decided to email Carly's mom and tell her what was going on. Then, at 3:30 p.m. that day, Carly and her mom arrived home after leaving school. In the security camera footage from their home, because all of that was played, you can kind of tell by their body language, in my opinion, that they had just been in some sort of heated conversation or an argument or something on the way home from school. Probably about the email that the friend ended up sending to Ashley, her mother. Then, once they go inside, Ashley can be seen on the home security footage going into Carly's room to take some items out. In my opinion, the mom got this email. It's all clicking, probably suspicions that she had going on with Carly before they get into this heated discussion or whatever on the way home. She's like, you're grounded, you're losing, She goes into the room and she's pulling out everything she could find. These items were 4 boxes of vape pens that Carly was hiding. Carly then lets the dogs outside, and when she comes back inside, she can be seen going into her parents' room to grab the weapon, and then you can hear shots are fired and heard on the camera. Carly then comes out into the kitchen with something behind her back and grabs her mom's phone to text her stepfather and ask him when he's coming home. You guys, and this gives me the actual heebie-jeebies. She's literally got her mother's cell phone and she texts her stepfather and she says, "Are you almost home, honey?" What? Then she sings a little tune and tells the dogs, "It's okay, it's okay." Now, as we continue to go through this video, I want y'all to remember the requirements in order to be able to be found not guilty by reason of insanity. The state then said that Carly called a friend and asked them to come over, saying that there was an emergency. Now, once the friend arrived, Carly asked the friend if they were squeamish around bodies that were no longer alive. And then afterwards, she shows her friend her mother's body there. Then Carly can be heard saying, "I put 3 in my mom, and I've got 3 more for my stepdad. 2 for the head and 1 for the chest." And if that is just not chilling enough, then the state played the footage of Heath, the stepfather, coming home, him being wounded by Carly's weapon can be heard, and then you can hear screaming, and you can also see Carly and her friend running from the house. It also came out that at some point, Carly took down the camera and hid it in the refrigerator. Again, why would she do that if she had no idea what she was doing was wrong? And then the state played Heath's 911 phone call.
Okay, sir. Where's your wife? She's dead on the floor of my stepdaughter's room. What's your wife's name? Ashley Smylie. Ashley Smylie.
And afterwards, the state played the body cam footage from the police officers while Carly was being arrested.
I got her handcuffed. Actually, look. Let me see. Step out real quick for me. Alright. Hey, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move them around to the front of you, okay? I'm gonna move the handcuffs around to the front of you. Okay. Alright. Alright, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna swab your hands, okay? Right. And we'll ask you a bunch of questions, but obviously you fired with a pistol, correct? Okay.
Alright, look. I need you to hold your hand out like this.
What is this? It's a GSR. It shows which hand did you shoot with?
Okay.
Which hand did you shoot with?
Which again, there would be absolutely no reason to hide if you did not think you did something wrong. Now, mind you, throughout all of this video evidence, Carly was sobbing and even covering her face at one point like she was watching a scary movie. Now, the defense during their opening statements said that Carly, she just loved her mother and that she was a good student who would have never done this if she wasn't in a bad state of mind. They also told the jury that while the events on March 19th were tragic, they weren't intentional.
This is not a whodunit case. We know who took action on March 19th to bring about the death of Ashley Smylie and the injuries to Heath Smylie. However, this is a why case. Why did it happen? Why did this exceptional child with no history of violence, who was loved by her friends, her teachers, her parents, who had a good home life, who loved her mother, why did she shoot her mom? Why did she shoot at her stepfather? The state would like you to believe the answer to those questions don't matter, but we know better than that. The answers to those questions is why we're here today, and it's what you're here to do. We believe the evidence will show that there were 3 victims on March 19th. Ashley Smylie, Heath Smylie, and Carly Smylie. And Carly Gregg. That they were all 3 victims.
On day 2 of the trial, Carly's stepfather, who she actually shot, got on the stand and testified on her behalf. Now, from my very unprofessional opinion, I found his demeanor and the way that him and Carly were like smiling at each other a few times during this testimony to be a little strange. Now, I don't know their dynamic, but it was just a little weird. But basically, he got up there and said that him and Carly have always gotten along great, and that he believed that she was not herself during the incident. He said that he loved her and that he was not scared of her still to this day. Then there was testimony from Carly's friend that came over to the house that day. Now, this was not live streamed since this person is a minor, but reporters from inside the courtroom say that this friend said that Carly showed them more weapons in the house after showing them her mother on the floor lifeless, and then asked them to go outside and wait in the backyard while she took care of her stepfather. Like, can you imagine, like, your friend's like, hey, come over, it's an emergency, and you're in 9th grade, maybe 10th grade, and so you go over there and this is what you see? Hello. Keep in mind, the defense is claiming that Carly did all of this in a mentally insane state, like she could not prepare for anything, but another minor friend testified that Carly had been riskier leading up to her mother's death. They said that Carly told them that she used the green and the white powder and mushrooms. This friend even said that Carly had mentioned ending her mother's life and her stepfather's life before this. Like, this was not the first time. Like, she had been thinking about this. While the defense was presenting their evidence, they brought up their expert witness, Dr. Andrew Clark, who is a child psychiatrist. Now, long story short, he diagnosed Carly with bipolar 2 and said that he did not believe that Carly was able to understand the nature of her conduct when the crime occurred, and that she did not know right from wrong at the time. Now, let me throw this in here real quick. Most children do not understand the long-term effects of their conduct in the moment. That takes years and time. But this is a little different. If you completely end your parents, you know that's a permanent decision. But according to this psychiatrist, Carly's medical records indicated a long-standing struggle with depression and anxiety. He also said that Carly's journal had really dark themes in it. He read one journal entry out loud in court, and it said, "I think I had a psychotic break earlier. The whole ordeal is quite silly. I actually spoke with one of the voices in my head. Well, I didn't hear them until earlier today, but I only do then. My particular friend and I were practicing screaming bloodthirst and ravenously. Thank God, physical confrontation was not possible. I sound crazy." This Dr. Clark went on to say that around the ages of 6 or 7, Carly started hearing voices and having intrusive thoughts. Then, when she got older, she developed depression and anxiety, and by the age of 11 or 12, she was already hurting herself. It was around this time that Carly's mom, Ashley, took Carly to a nurse practitioner and a therapist that started prescribing her antidepressants. Dr. Clark also said that Carly said her memory went blank when she took the dogs out, and it didn't come back until she was standing on the side of the road being arrested. Then the state brought up a rebuttal witness. One was Carly's therapist that she was seeing once a week from the beginning of 2024 to the week right before the incident. So this isn't somebody that is just speaking to her in this time frame. This is somebody that has been speaking to her. This therapist was clearly emotional, but said when Carly filled out her new patient paperwork during her first visit, she did not check the box that said that she was hearing any types of voices. She also said that Carly denied having any hallucinations or delusions. And this therapist said during Carly's visit, the week before the incident, she switched Carly from Zoloft to Lexapro. But she said that she made sure to tell Carly that she needed to taper off the Zoloft. Then there was this moment where the state asked her how many of her patients have gone on to end their parents' lives.
Rebecca, as a therapist, how many people do you see that have complaints about depression or anxiety?
Almost every single one of them.
How many of them have gone on to kill their mom?
0. Her. Before that, none.
Do you have any patients that have ever reported hearing voices?
I have, sometimes, yes.
And how many of them went on to kill their mom?
None.
Then the state brought up their own expert witness, who I thought did a really good job explaining his opinions. This expert witness's name is Jason Pickett, and he is a forensic psychiatrist. This is the one that did the evaluation on Carly that said that she was competent to stand trial. Again, long story short, he said that he did not believe that Carly met Mississippi standard for insanity at the time of the incident, and that she knew the nature, the quality, and the wrongfulness of her actions on that day. And then this brings us to the closing arguments. They were pretty similar to both sides' opening statements, but something that I found was so interesting and, in honesty, you guys, a little unsettling and disturbing. I kept thinking, how are they allowed to do this? Was this statement or these statements by the defense?
Good morning. I know it's been a long week for all of you guys, and I know you're tired of coming here every day, but I want to take a minute and talk about why the state has the burden of proof that they have, the highest burden of proof that our law allows, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. A lot of people think that having that high of a burden is there because it's supposed to protect the defendants in criminal cases, but in fact, I think it protects the jurors just the same, if not more, than it does the defendant, because making the state prove every element of their case beyond a reasonable doubt is what is going to keep each of you from waking up in the middle of the night. The decisions that you make today will not just affect Carly Gregg, it will affect her entire family. And it's a heavy burden to carry.
Me and a friend of mine were texting back and forth, and we just could not understand how they could try to guilt the jury into a certain verdict because of the family. I mean, God bless the family. I know that they're hurting and they feel tons of losses. And I'm sure that there are things that they know that happened behind the scenes that maybe didn't come out in court, or things that we don't even know. But it's not just about them. It's about the public. And if this person is capable of doing these things, and it's not, by reason of insanity or there's a duty as their peers, the jury, to help keep the whole public safe. Not just, let a murderer out if this is the situation because they feel bad or guilty for the family. I found that so bizarre. I'm like, what are we watching in court nowadays? Every time we watch a new trial, I feel like I'm seeing something that's going, what? Nevertheless, after 2 hours of deliberation, the jury came back and they found Carly guilty on all 3 counts.
All right, the verdicts appear to be in proper form. Verdict of the jury is count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. Count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of attempted murder as charged in the indictment. Count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in the indictment. Please be seated, Ms. Gregg.
Before the judge sent the jury back for sentencing deliberations, he gave each side an opportunity to argue whether Carly should be sentenced to life in prison without parole or life in prison with parole. And again, I thought that the defense's argument was interesting.
I'm going to have to tell you, this is probably the most difficult thing I've ever had to do. I respect your jurors, and I respect your verdict, and I totally understand that. And now I'm in front of you. Gregg, when this happened, was 14. She's 15 now. Her family's sitting on the front row. Her grandparents, which are Ashley's mother and father, have been supportive during this whole process. He's Smylie, who's the victim in this case. He has been supportive. This is a family that's been torn apart because of this. This is extremely, extremely difficult on all of them. Nobody knows why it happened. You have the opportunity to not make this worse on the family. You have 3 options. You can do life without parole, you can do life with parole, or you can let the judge make the determination. In this case, we would ask you, let the judge make the determination. We don't want you to give her a sentence for life in prison. Life in prison is life in prison. That's it. 14-year-old.
Ultimately, in less than an hour, the jury sentenced Carly to life in prison without parole.
The verdicts read as follows. As to count 1, we, the jury, sentenced the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, to life imprisonment. As to count 2, we, the jury, sentenced the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, to life imprisonment. Please be seated.
Which to me sounds like the jury of Carly's peers did and all agreed, and obviously very quickly, that it was safer for Carly to probably never get out again. And I do find Carly's reaction to her sentence much different than her reaction to being found guilty. Carly's lawyers have said that they plan to appeal, and I do wonder if some of the antics from Carly in the courtroom is related to this appeal, but I'm not her, so I don't really know. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but before the trial, Carly was offered a plea deal of 40 years in prison, and she rejected it. She really thought that she was going to get found not guilty, and so did her family, because there was one part in court where her family kind of leaned over to her and said that we're going to be taking you home today. They literally thought she was getting out. And listen, you guys, if she was mentally ill or what, you want to take her home? I mean, I understand that's their child, their grandchild. They've already suffered a loss with the mother, losing her life. But what kind of locks do you got on the door? You going to sleep real good at night? Like, I don't understand that. Even if they thought that she was mentally ill by reason of insanity, I would be taking her to a facility to get that insanity part worked out. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need no more accidents. We don't need no more complete blanks of memory, according to Carly. And I cannot imagine, like Ashley, like she was obviously, from what we know, and again, I don't know what all happened before in this family, but she was obviously trying to do what I would be considering the right thing as a mother. She went straight into her room and got the stuff out that she found out that her daughter was on and doing, and was trying to set boundaries. She probably grounded her, and she probably thought she was going to get some arguing, some pushback from her daughter, but she never in a million years thought that she would look the person that she loves more than anybody else in the eyes as she took her last breath. Like, that is horrific. And, we got to keep the community safe. And that's just, I'm glad that the jury did what they did, and I agree with their verdict. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm here to tell you right now, watching that security camera footage and stuff like that really kind of did it for me. And all the new evidence, it's just kind of like, well, was it a break? Was it That security camera footage and stuff was like, yeah. Y'all let me know what you think down below. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Love you guys.